It's one of the deceitful fall mornings, especially as beginning to understand this is how Southern Ohio gets in the fall. You'll wake up and it'll be 10 or 12 degrees Celsius, 58 here, so 58 is 26, 13, 12 or 13. It's chilly. Got to bring the kids to school, but you don't want to dress too warm, or at least bring your stuff that you can take off. What's that, honey?
Ollie's back.
What?
Ollie's back.
Yeah, Ollie's back. Because it's going up to 28 Celsius, 28.56. Almost 90 degrees in both the Meadows and Northfield this afternoon. It'll get chilly again tonight. So I grew up in weather like this, growing up in Prince Edward Island and an island. It doesn't matter how hot it is at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You're almost going to need a coat in the evening and definitely in the morning. So I'm almost in full sale mode right now. I have everything. I looked at every horse I have any interest in. Now, of course, there's going to be horses our clients say, hey, Anthony, what about this one? Hey, Anthony, what about that one? And I'll be like, yeah, geez, that's a nice horse. For me, last night, I wrote down an entire list. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, our budget is $295,000 for the wholesale, including all the horses we get. Now, I came in at $315 last night in projections, so I have to scale that down. I'm not going over budget. I want to see if we can have a very methodical, surgical, financially speaking, sale season. So we'll start it off with Ohio this Friday. Today is Wednesday. I have to race a couple of horses. We have Mountaineer Prince. I want to say he's been a complete disappointment this year, but I can't really blame it all on him, right? With the breaks and then seeing the tracks he had to race on, qualifying him in 2 minutes, and then the other day, yes, he made a break. But I have some culpability in that. I allowed him to get over the half in 105 and just assumed he was going to be in striking position and a place to win and do well. And that's up to me to do a little better. I should have been around the horse in front of me, following the pack, or orchestrating the symphony. Could have been out in front if I let him sail out of there. I was just a little too conservative with him. But outside today at Pennsylvania, this will likely be his last start of the season. What I would like to see is a big, strong Mountaineer Prince come back. Very, very immature 2-year-old right now, physically. Mentally, I know you see all the X's and you're like, yeah, well, mentally too. Not really. He understands his work when you're sitting behind him. He understands what he has to do. Sometimes he struggles to get it done. But I just want to see a bigger, stronger colt come back at 3. So that's what we're looking for as of right now. He's still a little narrow over the butt, right? Through the shoulders. Just needs to put a lot of muscle. Mature. Just needs to mature. Grow up. So that's a plan with him. Then today we have Widespread Panic. We made some subtle, as I said the other day, we can't make those wholesale shoeing changes that I would potentially like to see. Oh, Abe, you're going to have to help me out here, honey.
Yeah. You're good.
Good? Thank you. Those wholesale changes you can't make with a horse that is as long and strong and bully as he is. They're going to have to be those incremental changes. So we'll see if any of those make a bigger difference with Widespread Panic. I was actually pleased with his overall attitude last week and his work ethic. He did what he could. He was just into himself too much, and we just have to get him away from there. Today we have a number of horses tonight also. I probably should have had this out so you can look at it. Racing tonight at Northfield Park. But as I said, most of this week will be spent on the sale. Who do we got? We have Mountaineer Prince, Widespread Panic, Sweeney is picked to win, and Lonely Lakewood is bet down good also. Those two horses, I'm very interested to see how Sweeney is. They said he qualified great, and he's coming in very sharp. And then Lonely Lakewood, who's been doing some great work at the barn lately, is also racing. But as I said, the sale is on tap this week. I have all my picks made. I have projections made. I have the horses priced. Now we just have to see them. We have to see them in real time. And I'll be going down there tomorrow. As you may have noticed, I booked off tomorrow. I'm going to head down to the Ohio sale, take a look at everything. Meeting up with a number of clients. We're going to talk about the horses we like, what we were surprised with, both negative and positive, and what we're interested in. I've even asked Dr. Latessa to take a look at a couple of horses closer. If he likes what he sees on his inspection, then potentially vet a couple of them out. A couple of the more expensive ones that may fit that premium bucket. And as I said yesterday, there's not a ton of those horses in the sale, quite frankly. There's a couple I think will go really high, and then the rest of them I don't see them getting to that level. Which is, it is what it is. We're not going to overpay or stretch just because. If we get that horse, great. If we don't, then we'll make a decision and pivot afterwards. So that's the plan for the sale this week. Last night we raced a couple of horses. We raced, or yesterday afternoon and night, we raced Grand Slam Deal, who I thought raced really well. You know, I liked her the best when she raced out of the 10 hole in the Wildcat, but then again, every race is different. Scotty opted to get away last track and finish up. She finished her mile up 28 seconds on the end of it, a mile and 56 flat, so she is getting better. You know, I had a lot of people messaging me, Anthony, what are we doing with Grand Slam Dio? Is she going to race in the Is she going to race in the Bluegrass and the International Style? I do believe so. She's had 6 or 7 starts under her belt now. Right now it's just about growing up, maturing, and this is a great track to stretch out also on. A lot of speed here, but it's a very forgiving surface also. So it's a place where you can stretch a horse like Grand Slam Dio out. The last time I drove her to the 10 hole, she trotted 54-3. I can't ask for much more than that from that filly. I think that would be unfair to do. I've been very happy with her progression and her maturity. Sure, I wish she had been one of the best fillies in Kentucky. Unfortunately, there's just a lot of fillies in Kentucky. So we'll see how that plays out. I have every intention of racing her in the Bluegrass and in the International Stallion, but we'll see how that plays out over the next week. Last night, I'm fancy like 8-hole in New York. I had one of our clients say, why was there a driver change? I'm not familiar with any of the drivers, but why was there a driver change on the filly before the program went out? I didn't notice it right away, but Scott and Megan certainly did, and Tony Beltrami is one of our partners, and I'm fancy like. So it worked out better anyway to have somebody who has a vested interest in that particular filly to drive her. There wasn't much he could do with Post 8 in Yonkers. It's a really tough place to race out of the 8-hole from. You know, half-mile tracks, you know, generally the 8-hole is a graveyard. But when it comes to that particular racetrack, it seems to be extra tough. So Tony did what was right, took care of the filly. Unfortunately, we got away 8th, ended up 3rd over in a slowing cover, 3-4 wide in the last turn. Really didn't have a whole lot of chance to make up any ground or do anything. I think she finished 6th. But you're going to see a much better filly like you saw in her first start down there if we happen to get in the proper place at the proper time. So we'll see how Fancy continues her New York work. So far, a 2nd, just beat at the wire, and then obviously a 6th or something in the amateurs from Post 8. You pretty much pitched that line. It's certainly not her fault or the driver's fault. Both did what they could. Thursday, Friday, I'll be at the sale, but I'll also be watching the races. We have a strong card of horses at the Meadows. La Dorienne is picked to win. Insider trading is like 5-1, but considering those X's on her card, it's a pretty generous offering from the rail. She did qualify well, and I think she's probably ready to trot 57, 58, and was pretty flawless in her work in the qualifier. So good luck to Mike and Ronnie with La Dorienne and insider trading. Erin's got Flash Fly, but I see she's like 7 or 8-1. Now, the 2 company might be a little tough. We may move her back over to Northfield to race her there, because she's in the meaty part of the order where if we did put her in the claimer, her claiming price is like $50,000, and she's probably worth 45 or 50 as a broodmare, I would suspect. So we'll be able to race her in that class and keep her in a place where everybody's comfortable. I am. She certainly should be, and it should work out a lot better for her. And then Chime Bell races also on Thursday. I think there's nothing really needs done with Chime Bell. I think he can take that Tony Morgan off the outside, put a line pole on the outside of her, and I think all is well with Chime Bell. She's been a nice filly for us on 1 start, but looked really, really impressive in her work. She should be fine. And then 3 Point Blue Chip, really looking forward to this guy graduating out of the numbers of 5'8". I think what we will do with him is move him to Ontario, move Memory and Imagination into that class where he should do fine also. Talking about Memory and Imagination, I did sleep on it. I did speak to a number of my partners. We will race Pickpocket. We'll roll the dice. We'll race Pickpocket and Memory and Imagination in their respective finals in Lexington next week also. We've entered everybody in their finals just in case they get in. We'll see how that works out. So that's the plan as of right now. Off to school with the kiddos. I'm going to train grand old chap today, make sure he continues his forward progression. Any other horses that either Jason need me to go with, I will go with this morning. Then I'll pop over to the Meadows. We have Mountaineer Prince and Widespread Panic today, and then later, much later tonight, my racing starts with, I don't know what race I start in as a driver, but I don't even race until 9 o'clock at the stable, so I'll have a look at the entries also. So not a overly powerful Wednesday, but still, we have a shot with Widespread Panic. We have an outside shot with Mountaineer Prince. Sweeney and Lonely Lakewood both have shots, so in the right place for the most part with all of our horses today. So with that, I'll let you go. I will talk to everybody later on in the day, likely after the Meadows, I suppose. For right now, I hope your day is starting as well as ours. The sun's coming up. It's going to be an absolutely gorgeous day in Pennsylvania and Ohio, and I hope it is wherever you are also. Take care. Talk soon. Have a wonderful Wednesday.